Hello everybody, my name is NCS07 and welcome back to Forgotten Corner, the series where I talk about games that to me aren't talked about much by others. But before we get into that, I'm pretty sure you all know the Call of Duty series. I don't really need to introduce too much. It's been some of the most popular first-person shooters out there, with the series really getting big with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare in 2007. And ever since then, the series would continue to grow and grow with some setbacks along the way. Many have spent years playing these games with their friends online or with other people online and even making new friends through these games, and I can definitely see why. Now personally, I've never been much of a COD person. The only Call of Duty games I've played is Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 2019 Modern Warfare, and that's kind of it, and also the subject of today's video, but we'll get to that in a moment. I never dabbled in the campaigns of these games and only really played it for either the multiplayer or the zombies mode, if the game had it, with friends. Though to be fair, I've never really been the biggest on FPSs. Yes, leave the dislike if you want. I've just never really been the biggest when it comes to that genre. But there's one Call of Duty game that never gets any attention despite having Black Ops in the name, which, considering the Black Ops games are pretty popular. Black Ops Declassified for the PlayStation Vita. Now, COD games have been on handhelds before, though Declassified was only on the Vita, meaning that not only was it locked to that, but also not that many people had a Vita, so most COD players probably skipped this one. So, I figured today, let's see why Black Ops Declassified didn't leave much of an impact on the series or, well, gaming as a whole. Also, side note before we really get into this, I'm not doing the timestamps because I don't really feel like there's a point. I'm not separating this video, so have fun with this. Now, as for the history of this game, there really isn't much. Despite the fact that it was released, I mean, really all there is that it was released at the same time as Black Ops 2 in 2012, and physical versions of the game in North America included Call of Duty Roads to Victory, which was the PSP COD game for free. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Sorry. Moving on to the actual game, starting off with the visuals. Now, I don't think the game looks too bad, considering it is for the PlayStation Vita, so in my opinion it looks fine. Performance isn't amazing as the game doesn't have the most frames, but it isn't the worst either. Really, the game looks alright. Not bad, but not good either. It just looks mediocre. It just doesn't really stand out at all. And keep that in mind throughout this video. Now, if we actually take ourselves to the actual gameplay, it's basically what you'd expect from an FPS on the Vita. You move around and use the shoulder buttons to shoot down the enemies, but this game also tried to use the Vita's unique gimmicks in gameplay, which can really feel kind of off. For example, if you want to knife enemies or use grenades, you have to use the touchscreen, which can be really difficult sometimes since, for me, my thumb really has to jump just to do that. And that's really it. Yeah, COD's never really been that well known for evolving FPS games much, and this game really doesn't do it much at all. Not to say that the gameplay sucks, but the gameplay just isn't that amazing. At least on consoles you have a controller, which is much easier to use compared to the Vita, or keyboard and mouse if you're on PC, but on Vita, it's just, locking certain important mechanics to the touchscreen can just be a real pain in the ass, to the point where I would only melee if I really needed to. So, gameplay wise, it isn't that great and isn't even innovative in the first place. Well, at least the game has a decent amount of content, right? Well, that's where you're wrong. The main content you'll get from this game is the campaign mode, which consists of 10 missions to go through, and the missions aren't that long, though not only are there no checkpoints, but they can also be kind of a pain to finish. Now, to be fair, I'm not that good with shooter games anyways, but even on the regular difficulty, missions 2 and 9 kept kicking my ass over and over. But even with some of the missions being kind of difficult, the campaign still only took me about 2 hours to finish. And don't even ask me what the story is, because I have no fucking clue. All I know is the missions take place in between the first 2 Black Ops games, and that is it. And aside from that, yeah, I mean, there's also like the target test missions, but like those aren't really the same thing. Those aren't the operatives missions or whatever the hell they're called. But aside from that, you have the Hostiles mode, which is basically this game's survival mode where you kill waves of enemies. This mode's okay. And there is also multiplayer with only 5 game modes and not many more maps. I did try playing it and was actually able to get into a match pretty quickly, though don't expect to run into many players online if you try. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. Not very much at all. A campaign that can be beaten in a couple hours, a survival mode that's only alright, and multiplayer that doesn't hold a candle to the other COD games. Yeah, this game does not have much at all. Even while nothing is inherently bad, there's nothing here that you can't get from the console game. So there really isn't much here that makes it even that notable. So overall, I think it's pretty easy to see why Declassified is never talked about today. For one, it was released on a system that not that many people had. 2, it didn't bring anything new to the table to push the series further, unless you want to count the stupid Vita gimmicks like the touchscreen. And 3, it barely has any content. It feels more like a glorified demo or a DLC rather than a full $50 game. Of course, nowadays you can get the game for much cheaper online, but unless you have a Vita and are just curious about this game, you guys can skip this one. Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified is just a nothing FPS for the Vita that has nothing interesting going on, and it is very easy to see why this game never took off. It isn't bad, but it's nowhere near good either. It's just bland. It's nothing exciting. If you want to play a COD game, go play any of the other ones. Even the newer ones that people bitch about. You'll have a better time with those than this one. Granted, I haven't played the newer ones, but I can guarantee you'll probably have a better time with those. And yeah, this has been Forgotten Corner, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments section if you guys have played this game, and yeah, I know I haven't been making a lot of videos lately. I do want to fix that once the school semester is over. I'll have a lot more content on the way soon, so don't worry, but for April, there will probably not be too much, but yeah, you already knew that. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out and take care.